G'day and welcome to this episode of FMF or Find My Fleet. I'm Execute and this is Algared, and we're today joined by
Hey guys.
YorT. YorT, are you there?
G'day, how you going? It's YorT, by the way, Execute.
YorT.
Oh, YorT. Sorry, I got it wrong. My bad. So, tell us a bit about yourself, YorT.
I've been with or interested in Star Citizen since I think it was January 2016. A mate of mine, me and my mate joined. We actually came from War Thunder community, and we came over because we were interested in.
You played that,
Sorry?
Algared? Algared, you played War Thunder?
I did actually come across from War Thunder.
Oh. You did
Yeah,
first,
so
maybe.
so we came over from War Thunder looking for. We'd been playing it for quite a while and looking for something a little different. We both liked science fiction, Star Trek, that sort of stuff, and we came across this game and it was really I suppose spoke to me at least about that first person feel for being in a science game. So yeah, that's where it come from.
Tell us about your org, real briefly.
Okay, so our org is called 78th Squadron. Now, it's a bit of a coincidence because when we were in War Thunder, we actually had 78th Squadron as our clan name or division name. It's a historic Australian Air Force squadron, and hence the reason why we chose that name. And I didn't know, but when I came over to Star Citizen, they actually had a 78th Squadron law piece, and it's sort of so it's
carried across from War
yeah,
Thunder.
so it has carried across. So it's only a small org. There's only a few of us that play, but it's certainly been a really good transition, and it's been a really great eye opener for which I've never seen before, coming into a game from a development perspective. So it's been really good.
So you've been kind enough to do me and Algared an Excel sheet of all your little ships here. I'm just showing everyone what I've printed out here. And it's been very interesting because he's also put reasons for why he brought the ship, so I might actually get people to do this in the future. It's been very helpful. And I guess I'll get you to go through it and tell us what you've got. And
no problem.
Maybe a little bit about why you got each one, just ever so briefly.
Yeah, no, not a problem. And hence the reason why coming to you guys, because as you will hear and notice, it's a fairly sort of broad spectrum of ships, but it's not with no real, focus. Yeah. So I've got a Mustang Omega racer. I had the opportunity to buy that. It's a racer and it's rare. Mm-hmm. I have an Arrow light fighter.
Yep.
I've got a 135C small cargo ship. Now, I do like Origin. I'll put that out there to begin with. I do like...
That's the one thing about you. It's crazy.
That's right. There are people who call me crazy for liking Origin, but it certainly plays to the type of, gameplay that I like, which is more the sightseeing, that light exploration. I have a 315P, Reliant Sen for potentially non-combat science work, a Sabre medium fighter. So I've got a couple of fighters just so that I can put them in my larger ships. Not that I'm intending to do combat, but it's there as backup or for other people who may be joining me. Prospector small mining ship, again for non-combat gameplay. Polo Triage, I do like the medical gameplay that brings and that support role that I do enjoy. Cutlass Black because it's basically a runabout whilst the game is developing. 600i because again it's Origin. Retaliator Base. Now this is an interesting one because potentially the 78 Squadron is actually based on the Retaliator fleet, but I was potentially using this as a bit of a VIP slash stealth slash blockade runner, fitting out obviously all the turrets with some specialty modules inside. Got a Caterpillar, again, large transport, even though transport not my gameplay. A Carrick for obviously that deep exploration gameplay that which I do enjoy. 890 jump, because again, it's an 890 jump. It's Origin, and I have a Polaris, and that was I was convinced by my org mates to buy a combat style of ship. Not that I'd be doing combat, but the potential was there that for org participation, and that's about it.
Algared, your
Yes.
thoughts
Well, based on
as a fellow crazy person.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely loopy person. In some ways, I'm probably one of the worst people to ask about how to fix my fleet, because my fleet is just as crazy.
I'm biting my tongue, Algared.
I know you are. But based on what we were talking about earlier, in terms of you really liking that medical gameplay and you're really liking the exploration.
Yep. So that's probably one thing we should ask him really quickly. I didn't actually ask that. So what are you wanting to do with your ships, and can you kind of categorize them into the things that you're looking for? And I think what Algared's about to say is what I'm agreeing with, is medical exploration and org. Is that kind of where you see yourself sitting?
Yeah, so I suppose what I am focused on is more. So when I say Origin, the reason why I like the Origin gameplay is because that it brings. I'm into, say, sightseeing or maybe exploration, but not in a let's go and find something that I don't know, but more an exploration on a.
You're the type of guy that, when playing Guild Wars 2, would run around just to see the eye candy, right?
Yeah.
So you're not an elitist prick or anything. You just
No. Well, some people might because I don't have the time. So that's that style of play, as well as some supporting gameplay. It really comes down to, and as I say, Algared and I have been chatting about. I think it comes down to having time, and when you've got limited time, wanting to be able to do things that you enjoy. Yeah. And I enjoy, obviously, things that make me happy, and make me happy is going to see things that I haven't seen before, rather than.
So that's the exploring, and you like helping others. Is that the medical?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So
and you like doing things with your friends, which is the org.
Yes, correct. Okay. That's that support. Yeah. That's that support.
That makes sense. So, any other support roles you would consider?
Well, I haven't. No, I haven't. No, okay. I haven't. So hence the reason coming to you guys to say, well, no.
And is ships that provide extra gameplay important to you at all? So is a variety of gameplay important to you? So, as an example that we gave, that I've probably given in the past, is something like the Endeavour that has lots of different modules that. Definitely.
I think that's possibly why I might have picked the Retaliator and the Caterpillar, just for the the modularity. Potentially, what I can change of that ship to suit a gameplay style that I obviously haven't experienced yet.
Okay.
So yes, definitely.
Algared, do you have any?
Well, as I was saying,
sorry for rudely interrupting you.
That's right, you rudely interrupted. But in terms of what we were talking about before, in terms of you liking that medical gameplay or that support role and the exploration. And you were also saying, I don't really like being the fighter. I don't like doing the fighting. My question, as I said before, is why have you got a 135C, an Arrow, a 315P, and a Sabre? Because they're like one-man fighter type ships. And they seem at odds with what you say. Now, I know the 135C and the 315P are Origin, and that's Origin.
Pretty colours.
But I'd be pitching the 135C or leaving it as an LTI token, because it's smaller than the 315P. What are you going to use it for?
Can I interrupt you here for just 2 seconds? We had a comment on last week's episode about when I talked about getting rid of the NOx or melting the NOx. When you melt something, you can actually buy it back with a buyback token, so you don't actually lose the LTI token. I just want to make that really clear because there was a few comments that were going off at me for melting ships that had LTI or using them at LTI. You can buy them back, so it's not a loss, and I just want to make that really clear.
Even if you CC an LTI ship to something else and you decide, oh crap, I really made a mistake, you can always melt that ship, buy it back and get the ship as it originally was.
So if you take a NOx and upgrade it to an Ursa rover and you don't want the Ursa rover, you can melt the Ursa rover and buy back the NOx.
But that was one of the questions I had before, because the 135C, it's smaller than the 315P. It's going to have less weapons than the 315P. It's going to have less that's the ship that stood out as being, it doesn't make sense. I know the Arrow is a lovely little fighter, but again, it's totally at odds with what you like.
So what are your actual recommendations, Algared? What do you recommend he gets rid of and changes and consolidates?
Well, the initial things would be those fighter ships, because he doesn't. YorT says he doesn't like doing the fighting.
I think Algared and I are very much going to be on a similar wavelength today.
It's kind of a very, very similar. You don't like that, but you actually want to do things with your mates. So that's why it's there.
So to make this quick, because he's got a really rather large list, what ships would you recommend he gets rid of?
The 135C, the Arrow, possibly the Reliant Sen, definitely the Sabre. So I'd get rid of those.
Saber's $0 melt value. Saber's got Saber has a $0 melt value, so he can't get rid of it.
That's a referral ship.
So that's a rating, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'd use that as a yeah. And since it's not LT, I'd keep that anyway.
My recommendations for that Saber, unfortunately, I probably wouldn't have normally upgraded that high, but because it's where it is, I'd also consider personally turning into a Defender or a Santoki Eye.
Yeah.
And you'll, unfortunately, the Santoki Eye, you'll have to wait until anniversary because they're just so hard to find. But you should be able to pick up a Banu Defender upgrade on the black market with very little issue at all.
And that ties in with what we were talking about earlier when we were comparing the ships. As you've got Caterpillar, which is saying, "Oh, I'm not really into transport," and we were comparing the ships with the Banner Merchantman, and the Banner Merchantman leaves most of those transport ships for dead. Has more weaponry, has more forward weaponry, not as many turrets, but it's got so much more possible gameplay, long range, and the Defender is supposed to have some link in, very tight, close link in. So that'd be another option I'd be looking at.
The Caterpillar does have an interesting part, though, is it looks like it's very much going to be the Drake support ship. So that my thought when I look at that ship is the only reason when he mentioned support, it may down the road lead to some gameplay that he's interested in, especially if they add the chop shop modules and the hospital modules and stuff like that. You might find that comes back around for something that he wants to do on it. That's the only one I really question. I'm going to go through my list because I do know you haven't actually done this as an episode yet, Algared, so I might have to change this a little bit. I was going to get you to go first, but that's fine. I'll go first. Basically, I'd be melding the 135C, the Arrow, the 315P, the Reliant Sen, the Prospector, the Cutlass Black, the 600i, the Retaliator Base, the Caterpillar, all those, and I would consolidate them into one of two things. When I worked it out the other day on the calculator, it was about $1,200 when they're all melted. If you put an extra $200 to that, you get a Kraken, which, as the org leader of your organization, would allow you to have a big ship for all your friends to park your ships on. You also told me at the time you had a lot of small ships in your fleet, which is perfect for something like the Kraken to call a home base. The other option is another one is to go into 3 economic-based ships, which is not that it's a bit cheaper of an option, so you wouldn't have to put extra money to it, but you would have credits left over, and that would be something like a Reclaimer, a Crucible, and an Endeavour. Now, those 3 ships have extra gameplay. Well, the Reclaimer and the Endeavour do, but the Crucible works really, really, really well economically with the Reclaimer because they can feed each other materials. As in, if there's a hole that the Crucible can't restore, the Reclaimer can eat it, and the Reclaimer can feed pieces to the Crucible. So they work really well economically together. You get awesome gameplay through the Reclaimer in regards to exploration of going into the ship and pulling the components out of it. And they've said that you can find alien races, dead bodies, zombies, all this stuff on the ship. You can go read the concept ship sale pictures to understand those further. This is for people listening as well as yourself. The other part of it is the Endeavour. All those modules, that ship is going to grow and cost heaps extra in the future. You've also got exploration gameplay in that. You've got an entire bloody hospital in the Hope. You've got your farms, your drug lab, you've just got gameplay out the wazoo on that thing. Also, again, that all comes back to your org. You're going to have this hospital ship. You're going to have those massive science things that everyone's going to want to use in your fleet. And it's the same thing on the Reclaimer and the Crucible. Everyone's going to need their ship repaired. Everyone's going to want to go out and get something that's broken and fix it. So they'll all get used by your organisation. My basically two recommendations come down to that. It comes down to whether you want that big mothership for your fleet, or do you want to go the economical route and save up and go into something bigger, even bigger than the Kraken, like an Aegis or a Javelin down the road with your organisation. And as I said, the Sabre is a good ship. It's just for most people, it's a bit of a ninja, so it's not the best fighter at the moment. So on paper at the moment, the best two are the Defender and the Santokiai, and that's kind of where I sit.
Okay.
So I've just done mine short and sweet, Algared, and I think that's the only way we can do this because he's got so many damn bloody ships. So that's why I was trying to show you how I want to do it. So
in terms of what he said, I'd pretty much get rid of the 135, the Arrow. I'd keep the 315p based on the love of Origin ships.
Okay.
And because it's a ship that has been said will be able to park in an 890 jump, so that gives him a single ship run around for his solo play if he wants to do some solo cargo, and also a ship that can work as a snub.
I just want to ask a question real quick. How are you with extra funds, YorT?
Yep.
Sorry. Is it like how much extra are you prepared to put into the game, or you want to put less into the game?
No. It's I don't see that as a barrier. I see if it's going to benefit and suit, hence the reason again coming to you guys, and I really do appreciate the comments that you guys are giving me. So really, I'm not that fast. So you're right. No, whether because we spoke earlier, Execute regarding the Kraken. So yeah, it's to me, it's what it takes to have something that I'm going to enjoy in the future.
Yeah.
So whatever that's going to cost.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you kind of need, like, if I went through this list again with you, I'd almost go, what ones are you steadfast to hold on to as well? Like, and I know you really wanted to hold on to the 890 jump and the Polaris, and that's why I kind of removed the 600i and the other smaller ones, because here's the thing, and I know Algared just said hold on to the 315p, but why can't you just turn that in game? You still love Origin; it'll still be there when the game comes out. It's just it's cheap and you'll be able to earn it. Like if you've got a ship above that, so like I gave with the Reclaimer, or you can use the Reclaimer to earn the 315p. And I think that's the thing that some people have this thing in their head. They've got to have the ships that they want. They've got to pass the mentality that they can go earn them.
Yeah. It does come back to that. And again, it was what Algared and I were talking about. Why people buy ships, and I think it will come down to time for me. So hence the reason for the broad scatter approach. And
but you would still have enough time to earn a 315p, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I'm pretty sure the smaller stuff will be achievable.
And in terms of the economics gameplay, like we were talking earlier about, why have a prospector? Because it's a single player ship, and you're really looking at that as doing something with the org. And my thought would be kind of along what Execute was saying along the economic ships. Why don't if you're looking at doing it as an org, why not have an Orion or and a Reclaimer? And then
that's
the
another
other option
ship.
is
Algared, that's another ship you could have chucked in there with the three I mentioned before, the Crucible and the Reclaimer and the Endeavour. I should have mentioned that one as well. Sorry, Algared, but you.
And as we were saying earlier, that also raises the question: do you, as the org leader, need to have all of those ships? You could, you take this other guys. Okay, look, I'll take this ship. I'll take the Orion.
Mm.
You do that. You do Reclaimer. You do the, and then instead of you having 7 ships or 10 ships,
everyone's got one each. Yeah, that makes
everyone's
sense.
got one each. And then we want to do mining today. We'll get in your Orion. Oh, we want to do salvaging today. We'll do that.
That's that's a really good idea. And that would actually leave someone like yourself to get the Kraken. And then you'd all have a place to return home to. That said, though, you can't park the Reclaimer on the Kraken or any of those ships. But you could definitely have them all floating next to each other in a nebula. And also, it'd be a similar thing with the Endeavour. You'd have like this little floating city somewhere in space.
Yeah.
And actually, all those ships can land on planet. So you could even land on planet somewhere.
And if you did decide to go for Kraken, I'd actually, because it's going as an orc ship, at that point, I'd ditch for Polaris.
Yeah.
I'd ditch for Polaris. I know it's that nice attack ship you want for the org.
Man, I'd dump the 890 jump before the Polaris, but that's just
I don't.
But he's got the money. What I'm saying here, Algared, is if he's prepared to put an extra $200 in, he can keep all those. He can meld everything, and he can keep the Carrack, the 890 jump, and the Polaris, and the 2 ships that are not meldable. He could keep all those. So he'd end up with would be a Mustang Amiga, a Sabre, a Carrack, an 890 jump, a Polaris, and then he could have a Kraken as well. That's a pretty nice fleet, if you ask me. Especially if his org mates are able to pick up one of those other ships like you were suggesting. Based
on one of the things that you and I were talking about earlier, I'd probably keep the triage, because that would be when the guys want to go shooting things up. I'd take along the triage and I'd play the support role for them as they're shooting up things in their fighters.
Actually, I didn't actually melt that when I said that, but yeah, it actually does count that. I just missed that when I read it out. Sorry. But you are right, yes. He should keep that. That was the other one that I had on my list. The other thing is how much that's going to integrate to with the Hope, the Endeavour Hope. I think we talked about that during the week, and because I think that and the Cutlass Red will now definitely be able to dock in that underslung crew part of the Endeavour when that comes out.
And I think based on what we've said with the triage, the Apollo, it basically makes the Red almost redundant because it's got a better bed system. It's a
I actually had a red before the triage came out.
The black, the Cutlass is a nice ship, but
that was just a runabout whilst I'm waiting for the game.
I think we said during the week the black's actually a really good one to have at the moment in the game. Just the way the game is at the moment, it's really good. But you always want to have a CC option, or you can just meld it, as I said.
Saying,
go ahead, Algared.
At present, based on what you're saying, in terms of the Valkyrie being such a nice ship to fly, if you're looking at changing them, I'd at least swap one of those out and get a Valkyrie at the moment, because you're quite enjoying that, and it does the same job as a black.
Me and Osiris have done a lot of talking about the Valkyrie in the last couple of weeks, just behind the scenes. We're actually recommending the C2 or the M2 over that for the cost and what you can do. That is going to be a much better ship. The Valkyrie can't take cargo, and that is its utter failing, right? When you go to a C2, we were doing the math. It's literally 4 times the cargo size, and it's not 4 times the price.
4 times 0 is 0.
I mean, so we were doing the math on based on. I have to pull the math back up, so this will probably be wrong. But we took the size of the Nova tanks and worked out, using the size of the Nova tanks and the CCU size, how many cyclones you could fit into it, and I think it was 9.
If you looked at the manual, I think it actually told you how many cyclones it could take. Yeah,
so that is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Where I think the other one takes 4, so that's easily the double the cargo of the Valkyrie. And the only thing you're really losing is the ability to bring those 20 troops down. And let's be honest, if you take them off a ship that's in orbit and put them on one of the Hercules, you can just bring them down. They could all be standing in the back. It really doesn't matter at this point, unless down the line they bring in that gravity stuff and they start flinging around and it kills them all. That might be a different kettle of fish. But as it stands at the moment, the C2 or the M2 if you can afford it, which is a bit of a price jump, is a better ship than the Hercules.
I had forgotten that the Valkyrie couldn't take cargo, which basically kills it as that idea. So,
but I do agree it is a really nice ship to fly. It's a very comfortable ship, and it's got quite a lot of power for its size. Obviously, the disadvantage to the Hercules over the Valkyrie is you go up a size and landing pad, which is another killer fish, which also means you go up jump point size as well, so it creates other problems.
So, short and sweet, to try and summarise what we've said, we see you've probably got two options in terms of based on what you've said and where you'd like to go, and it basically goes along keep the Apollo and your 890 jump and Polaris and Carrick.
Yep. Melt everything else. That's meltable.
Yeah, so melt everything else that's meltable, and either go the Endeavour, Crucible.
Just say utility ships or economic ships. There's only four of them.
Economic ships. Yeah. So both four ships, or
sorry, go.
Try and get a Kraken.
Yeah. So it sounds like to me you need to have a talk with your mates. Right, mofos. Let's talk. And figure it out between them and find out what ships they've got, especially if you're the org leader. Say, look, I'm prepared to go get the Kraken, but we need this, and this. And ideally, if you've got one of each of those four ships, and just to put it in perspective for the people watching, I think you said you've got about 16 org mates. Is that true?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so between 16 people, that should be easily manageable. If all you're asking is for one of them, you only need one of each, you'll be laughing. And,
he was saying earlier he's got a crazy R-type guy in the org, so
might not need nothing then.
I reckon realistically, talk to the guys, find out what they want.
Yeah.
Talk to the guys who are active and say, hey, what do you guys actually really want to do? Like, this is what I really want to do in the org.
Yeah.
When we're out there, and you might find they all want to do exploration and economic stuff rather than pew pew. In which case, that changes the whole gambit for you guys. And say, okay, well, let's get rid of all this stuff. I'll get this as a base ship. You take care of, and then share the wear, and then and it actually helps keep you guys close. And even doing different things.
And even if you don't want to buy the Kraken, as you said, get some of those economic ships because they'll set yourself up to buy more things like your 315p back and your 600i back. And that's how I went into the game when I was first buying ships. As I just went, right, I'm going economics. Boom, let's go. First ship I got was Starfarer, Banner Merchantman, best cargo ship, and then I went off and I got my Orion, my Reclaimer, and Crucible and Endeavour. I've got all of them. Then I just got little ones that I wanted after that. And that's what I recommend. If you've got the money to buy them, which is not always the case for everyone, is get the economic ships because once you've got them, you can get whatever you want. Yeah. Just make the money in game. Simple.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Algared?
No, I think we've probably covered it all.
All right. Well, the last thing I'll ask is, Mr. YorT, do you have an idea of what you're going to do now?
Yes. No. You've put me on the right track. At least it gives me some focus. Just thinking about the Kraken, maybe that is a little too combat-y and probably heading down the...
It can be a little bit combat-y, but it's not... I think if that ship's in combat, it's been found out. To me, it's one of those... It's a mobile base that you move, and I'd be moving that thing every 24 hours, and I reckon only two people in your org would know where it's going, and then they tell people once it's moved. Because if the word gets out where that is, you're going to get attacked.
And... Also, remember the lore of the Kraken. There's that lore story where the UEE found a pirate Kraken that had been being used as a mobile truck stop. That's how they're seeing it. It's a kind of a mobile truck stop it's got paths for the ships that are landed. It's got
I do see that as a really good support to the org. So it's a toss up. Between and obviously depending,
and that's why I think you've got to go back and talk to your mates because if you can talk to your mates and they're going to go the economic ships, I think it would be a really good investment for you to. It's not biting the bullet, but for you to take the jump as the org leader and get a Kraken because then it will bring everyone will form around your ship, and that's a ship you guys are going to use every day.
Yeah.
You know, the other option is to go the economic route and maybe all save up together and get yourself an Idris. But I'm assuming that you've got one of those. What did you call him before, Algared? The guy that had all the ships?
Crazy Owl.
Crazy Owl guy. So you had a Crazy Owl guy that has all the ships. I'm pretty sure he's got an Idris, yeah? Or a Javelin?
Based on what I was saying, they've got an Idris.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and a few other ships.
So if you've got an Idris and a Kraken, you're going to be laughing.
Yeah.
So you need to include him in your discussions, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I think you know as well as we do, you've got a lot of small ships that you can consolidate. But if there's a ship there, like even other than the triage, like you've got the Prospector there. If you want to go out and do solo mining, keep it, man. You know. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to what you want to do in the game and what is the best way to use your money going forward. And at the moment, almost any ship under $200, the other ones that I'd include in that are the advanced starters, are almost not worth having. Because if you can get one large ship, you can earn them all back relatively easily.
And like we were saying with the Orion, you know, you wanted to look at that mining as a group thing. Well, why have a Prospector if one of you can have an Orion and the group of you can be on that ship and earn crap loads by mining instead of having a gimped Prospector?
Yeah, another simple way to look at it is how many Prospectors are going to be able to mine at the same rate as an Orion. Now, we don't know that yet, but you do that at a cost analysis. I guarantee you one Orion at $325 is going to do more than two Prospectors at $300.
But we also know that the Prospector's got 12 bags, but it can only fill 4 at a time.
Yeah, so you've got to have two people anyway. So
you need some of a cargo ship to make it worthwhile.
So once you start to put this stuff down on paper and just go through it in a logical... That's all we do. We're just telling you what you already know. You just haven't been able to look at it in a clear head. But yeah, hopefully what we've told you will help you. I'd like to hear back from you if you can get back to us in a couple of weeks, and we'll next time we do an episode, I'll try and let people know.
Definitely, mate. I'll definitely keep in touch and let you guys know what I decided, what changes were made.
Because hopefully we can pass that on, and other people will learn from your mistakes, so to speak. But not that they're mistakes, but you know what I mean.
It may help Crazy Owl out.
Nothing can help that man. He's too far gone.
True.
All right. He's been Algared. The mysterious voice has been YorT, and I'm Execute. And we'll catch you next time. If you like this video, like this video. If you dislike this video, dislike this video. If you like YorT and you want help, jump on Discord and shoot me a message like he did, or Algared, or any of the other Inforunners, and we'll work it out for you, and we'll make a time and a place that suits you. Look forward to another episode of our normal shows coming also this week. All right, catch you guys next time.
Take care.
Bye.
We're out of here.